All right. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Yay! Yeah! This is like the most awake I expected. I just expected everyone to be asleep, but this is so nice. Did everyone catch the hailstorm that just happened like 20 minutes ago? All right. Welcome to Portland. That's what to expect here. So for the next little bit of time, I'm going to be talking about DAO DAO, which is a DAO that builds DAOs. It's also interchain DAO tooling. So a little bit more about me. My name is Case, or Case Organic, and I work on DAO DAO and a bunch of other different things. I like to work in systems that aren't fully built out yet or at the edges of what's possible, and also in kind of a playful way. So what is DAO DAO? So it's a DAO that builds DAO tooling, but it's also a no-code tool for creating and running DAOs, and also a way to say DAO a lot, because it's fun to say DAO. What's really important about this is that you don't have to know how to write a smart contract. You can have smart contract templates and have auditable, executable code in your DAO, which is really nice. Instead of just having a snapshot that says that you're going to do what you're going to do, this actually executes the code for you. So you can run an entire treasury and group of people with your DAO. So who is DAO DAO? If some of the DAO DAO people in the room want to stand up, you can say hi to them. Hooray, DAO DAO people. So DAO DAO is not necessarily one group of people. It's a bunch of different contributors. You can join the Discord and help in any way that you want in your free time. It's kind of a labor of love. More importantly, it's not funded by any VCs, so it's kind of choose your own adventure. And also, it doesn't mean that it's going to be like acquired or fired or demoted or whatever. It doesn't need to exit to the community because it already is the community. I think all of us are kind of big fans of Lao Tzu, Dao De Ching. One of the fun things to read, one of the fun versions of Dao De Ching to read is the one by Ursula K. Le Guin. It's really fun to just read a stanza at a time and consider what it is. When we're in a world where we think that tech changes a lot and we forget that there are kind of human universals and technology universals and kind of rules of nature that don't change forever, and we kind of work in systems that follow those rules instead, it's a lot more likely to result in harmonious code, hopefully. So that's where the name comes from, hopefully, as well. So what makes DAO DAO different from other DAO tooling? Inter-blockchain communication is one. In this system, you can have lots of different blockchains that you can create, and they can all speak to each other. So you can have your own DAO with your own DAO token, and then you can actually collaborate with other DAOs and include them in smart contracts, or compose them like Lego blocks, and have more complex multi-DAO governance structures, and kind of just play around. There's built-in support for this already. And you can have DAO DAO DAOs that vote on other DAO DAO DAOs, or include the DAO 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 treasury token in another DAO DAO DAO. What is it written in? It's written from the ground up in CosmWasm, which is a Rust-based smart contract framework. Here's some example of that code, which you can dig into more. There's a lot of, you can have, instead of ERC20, you can have CW20, you can have CW721. Should be familiar with all of these things, just to make it a lot easier to work in these kind of interoperable interchain ways. Here's an example where you can instantiate a smart contract on behalf of a DAO. You basically fill out a proposal template, it generates the code for you, and then once there's consensus and quorum, you can actually just hit execute, and it executes it for you. There are a bunch of different governance modules. You could write your own if you wanted to. But more importantly, you have the kind of primitives to run an entire DAO or system of DAOs without having to write it from scratch. And yeah, Legos, because Legos are great. And then it's 100% on-chain. So again, if you're just doing something with Snapshot, maybe a multi-sig, you're not actually having all of these votes and proposals and codes actually running on-chain. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So what can you do? If you have interchain DAO tooling, you can send and receive assets from other chains, or even call smart contracts on other chains, or control accounts on other chains, depending on how much voting power you have. And you can also have multiple treasury tokens. So you could have a DAO that can accept funds. Let's give an example of a DAO that builds, like, let's just say like website template software or something like that. You could actually say this other DAO that needs to use that could actually fund them through that DAO's treasury. And you can actually run self-sustaining open source software as a DAO and have the other DAO's treasury fund it and vote. So you say, okay, this person's giving us this many tokens to do this. We're going to give them this much governance power in our DAO because they've funded part of us. And then it's completely community funded. So that's like one example of kind of interchain communication with DAO DAO. Yeah, you can also LP your DAO treasury on the Osmosis ecosystem. So you can actually just take your whole treasury and make a liquidity pool. Or you could launch NFTs through it. Or you could say, if somebody has this NFT, they have this much voting power, for instance. Or you could call smart contracts in the EVM world with Evmos. That's one of the projects that's working on Ethereum compatibility. And then you can kind of bridge assets to and from ETH over time. There's a bunch of different things that you can do with the governance modules. We'll go over some of them in real time. But the idea is that you could even upgrade via the DAO can actually vote to upgrade itself. So if you want to make changes, including like changing the profile picture of the DAO, you vote on that together. So in terms of user experience, like just trying to have UI templates for everything, doing things like integrations with Discord, with bots that automatically post when there is a new proposal that is happening, or the proposal status, and most importantly, fast and cheap transactions. In terms of getting somebody onboarded to a DAO for the first time, getting somebody set up with this system, it's supposed to be fun and easy. And the whole point is that you could build a game really fast to get people to have fun and make a DAO, and then they can transfer to like another DAO tool, or at least like understand the social arguments that they're going to have in their DAO before it actually means something like legitimate in terms of money. So it's really important to like rehearse and practice. I think most importantly is when you're learning something that's dangerous, like, well, smart contracts can be dangerous, but let's just say driving a car. We don't expect somebody to learn how to drive a car the first time they get into a car. Why would we expect someone to understand how to build a DAO and how to have all that social situation negotiation the first time they open up a DAO tooling software? The tools are just there, and it's how we use them and how we learn how to use them together that's important. And in most of history, we learned together. We didn't learn in isolation. And so when you play together at building a DAO, it's more like learning over time how to drive a car. You understand that it's dangerous, but there's also a lot of convenience. And there's a lot of powerful buttons on the car that you can press to get you to go places. It's just kind of like a metabolism to like get into understanding how to do something. So with that said, I would like to have Jay Cartnell, who is one of the core people at DAO DAO, come up, and we're going to just do a fireside chat and talk a little bit more about why interchain DAO tooling. And then after that, I'll give out some stickers and invite you all to try to wreck our DAO, one of the recipe DAOs that we built. So thank you.
Testing. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it works.
It's really great.
OK.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Do you want to sit?
I guess we can sit.
Do you want to sit? We can sit.
Seems more fireside this way.
We can also stand in the middle. Can we walk around the room? Does it work?
Sure, why not? We can do whatever we want. This is not being filmed, right? Oh, it is. They're filming us.
Yeah, we you know.
Right. Well, maybe we should just sit right here for the camera.
Everyone could walk around the room with us. Do you want to have like a parade? Okay.
All right, yeah, let's
Everybody
go.
get up. We're going to have a parade.
All right, cool.
Okay. Yep.
So what kind of stuff do you want to talk about?
Well, first, let's just walk around the room once so everyone remembers that they're a human.
All right, yeah, let's.
We'll come back.
That sounds good. People have been sitting around all day, so let's just do like one big circle around the room.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. Yeah. Has anyone ever just taken a walk with their friends and talked about like what happens when you try to govern together. Like, what kind of experience have you had in your life where you have to solve a problem with other people? Like, how do you reach consensus? Like, how do you decide on like where to stay on a vacation at an Airbnb?
Yeah.
How do you decide with like a co-op, you know?
How did all these people decide to walk around the room with us? I don't know.
Right.
Like,
This
it
was
just happened.
almost a unanimous decision
It's consensus.
that we decided to walk around the room. If we were all to get governance tokens in this walking DAO, yeah, this person has abstained.
I think we should airdrop. We got to airdrop all the walkers. Yeah, airdrop the walkers. Walker DAO. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you can definitely sit up there. That's,
Yeah, you
that's
can
fine.
definitely sit up there.
This is,
All right, I think we're good. Yeah.
cool.
Thank you for proof of human there.
Yeah. I feel better after that.
I do
so.
feel better too. Yeah. All right. So that was our first DAO decision, walking DAO. We had 98% participation.
Yeah, I'd say about 98% participation.
We had one abstain or one no with veto, I think.
Yeah, and I think it was a no with veto.
Yeah.
They were like, "What? Why are they doing this at a conference?"
That's right. That's right. They were finishing a hackathon project. I would like to say, I hope they win. We want to encourage people here.
But they're not getting the Walker DAO airdrop. I'm sorry.
They won't. That's okay. It's just a governance token. It's not worth anything until we decide
worth anything.
We could LP the governance token treasury, and then it would be worth something. You could get rewards.
Yeah.
Okay. So, why DAO DAO and why interchain DAOs?
Let's start with why DAO DAO. I think governance, and this is probably a lot of people have talked about this at this conference, but governance is one of the most important things I think we need to work on as a community. It's like everything that we're doing, if it doesn't have good governance behind it, and that doesn't mean like necessarily like regulation from nation states, but if it doesn't have like self-sovereign community governance, like these systems will break. Like you can't have like NFT-based social media without some sort of like moderation or curation, and that is fundamentally, governance. And I think a lot of the shitty parts of crypto user experience is the fact that there's no recourse if something bad happens. Like there's no like higher authority to appeal to, and so that's just where we are. And we need to just build the tools of tomorrow. And I think part of that is like having governance systems. Like things like courts and stuff have evolved like over a long period of time, and as imperfect as they are in today's world, they still provide a useful function. So that's the reason DAO DAO exists, is to make like really cool like radical experiments in governance. Like, one of the things, we're working on many different things, but like, I think you should pay people to vote, but I'm not sure that's a good idea. So, we should just like go try it and see what happens. Or you might have negative incentives, like you don't earn tokens for voting.
Right, or like what you talked about is like, let's say you have a DAO and there's a bunch of people that, like today, you might all join Dog DAO with photos of your personal dogs. And then after this conference, you might never vote in that DAO again. And now the DAO is locked because we can't reach consensus because a bunch of the members are not able to vote or they forgot to vote. So how do you deal with that? Is it like a tree where some of the branches die and you can prune it so that the tree can grow? So do you have something that has like votes that decay? And in that case, you wouldn't have that in every single DAO. You would have it as an optional option that you would have consensus on to say, yes, we want these votes to decay because this is that kind of DAO. And I think probably importantly is you make a test DAO and run through like 30 turns of that game to see if it works for you before you like make it part of a living official DAO, right? That you could do that instead of just commit to that upfront, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to see a lot more experimentation with like fundamental like on-chain mechanisms too. I really respect all the DAO tooling. Like when I got started, I like read through like Moloch DAO contracts and compound governance and Gnosis Safe, and like all that stuff is really cool and really just frankly kicked off all of this. So like credit to where credit is due, but there's just a ton more work to do in terms of like incentivization, in terms of like structuring DAOs. So like, I think a lot of DAOs these days are just like really, really simple, like too simple. And you can't create like really complex org structures with them. And I think on Twitter, I've seen like tons of people like complaining sort of about like the current state of DAOs and how it's like a little bit broken. Like if you have these like really, really large communities, it's really hard to like, people get voting fatigue, It's like organizing humans is a really difficult task, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we're very focused on like very modular, like kind of DAO contracts that you can sort of like Legos put together into these much more complicated organization structures. What was the second question you asked me? I got like rambly about DAOs and governance and things like that.
Oh yes, I asked why interchain DAOs?
Oh, well, I guess
And what
that
is
gets into like
interchain?
why the interchain and what does that even mean? I'm one of those people that thinks like that we're like there's just so much demand for block space. I kind of envision a world where like everything runs on chain, like your social media, your Uber, like the future Airbnb, like just a world where like everything is on chain, like trillions of transactions. And scaling to that, I think, requires like like horizontal scaling. Like, we already kind of live in a multi-chain world, and my Twitter handle is multi-chain maximalist, actually, with ultrasound money emojis. So I'm not like I got my start in Ethereum. Respect where respect is due, but I think we're already in a multi-chain world, and so how can we like sort of trustlessly bridge between chains, because that's how we scale to like, billions or trillions of transactions. So I come from Cosmos. I've launched a couple blockchains there, one of which is called Juno. It's over $1 billion in market cap now, which is not too bad, not too big though. And the cool thing about Cosmos is there's this protocol called IBC, which stands for Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. It was in your slides. And it allows for basically like trustless communication between blockchains. Both blockchains run a light client of the other blockchain. And the cool thing about this is like there's no third party, and there's no like third party token. There's no multi-sig where all the assets are sitting in a bridge. And I think the extra cool thing about this is it's actually not limited to the Cosmos ecosystem. So Polkadot parachains, there's a substrate module for IBC, and so we're going to, like, when parachains finally do launch, we're going to be seeing like some parachains with support for IBC. So that means they'll be able to connect to the over 40 different chains that are connected via IBC already, which includes Terra, Luna, or the Luna token, which flipped Solana actually. So it's like this really large and growing ecosystem. So yeah, there's a Polkadot parachains. Near protocol has a bounty for IBC support, and there's a team working on that. Harmony protocol, who's I think sponsor. I saw their booth out there. They have a team working on support for IBC. I think once Ethereum 2 launches, there's like probably some like pathways to like add support for IBC there, but that'll take a lot more work and exploration. And Ethereum 2 will need to launch first before that can really start. But yeah, it's a very exciting, growing ecosystem, and it's not just Cosmos chains, but even in Cosmos, there's like over 40 different blockchains that are connected with it. And so yeah, I think the interchain is cool because horizontal scaling scales, like, and it also allows for diversity. I really don't like the one chain to rule them all narrative. Like, I think that's very appealing to like venture capitalists and stuff, but like diversity is good. We want people experimenting with different types of consensus algorithms. We want people experimenting with like, privacy. Like my friend Henry is working on a chain called Penumbra in Cosmos, and it's a zero-knowledge proof-of-stake chain. He was one of the first employees at Zcash, and like I think fundamentally we still need these innovations at the consensus level, and we need to allow those people to continue to innovate and like trustlessly interoperate with the rest of the larger ecosystem.
Cool. All right. Well, questions from the audience. The caveat is that you can ask any question you want because we're in a small group, and we'll try our best to answer the questions. Does anyone have a question? You have a question.
I really want to know what it's like to work for some DAOs. Like, I don't know, I'm really boring compared to that. So make me feel like I should change and be less boring.
Okay, great. For the camera, I'm going to restate the question and say, I really want to know what it's like to work for some DAOs.
Hey, Zeke, do you want to come up and answer that question?
Yeah, so Zeke from DAO DAO will come up and answer. What
Zeke
is it
is
like?
one of the amazing engineers behind DAO DAO. He's super champ, and he got a Juno Dev grant.
Yeah, so I work for DAO DAO. Hey, everyone. I work for DAO DAO. I probably work a little more than full-time. It's because I love it so much. It's really, really great. It's like I kind of just don't do what I want. I'm like a little bit my own boss. I get money, and then I make cool shit. And it's like, yeah, like that's all it is. Like, so I actually had this, my journey to DAO DAO was like, I was just like you, actually, like all of you here. I was sitting in a conference, or this exact kind of thing, a fireside chat with Jake, and at Berkeley, and I was like, man, this DAO thing sounds really cool. And so I started just contributing open source to DAO DAO, and then I graduated Berkeley and started a job, and Jake messaged me and was like, you should quit your job and work for DAO DAO. And so I was like, okay. So I worked at that job for 5 days and was like, okay, goodbye. And then worked on DAO DAO. And it's like the greatest thing ever. So you should all like go work for DAOs and just like be your own bosses and like work with cool people and make these really neat, not hierarchical structures for working that are great. Work for DAOs.
Wow, I could not have said it. I could not have answered that better myself. But, all right.
Marcus Estes.
Hey, so I'm interested in trying to onboard people that are more on the normie scale of all of this Web3 stuff, and a lot of the considerations are ecological. I'm curious about Juno a little bit, and without giving a really deeply computer sciencey answer, if you could talk to us a little bit about consensus, and maybe just across the entire interchange ecosystem. If someone's looking for eco approaches to stuff, how you see that?
Yeah, totally.
Well, one thing, I have to repeat it for the camera.
Okay, yeah.
So Marcus asked a question. I'm trying to onboard maybe some more normie type people to this. Maybe there are ecological concerns. Without a computer science-y answer as much, could you help me understand the ecological on some of the other pieces? It's like not a great overview, but like that's the, hopefully enough the question. Juno in particular, yeah.
Sure, yeah, totally. So, it's using proof of stake, which I guess is a dev answer, but what the normies need to understand is that it's like fundamentally a lot more efficient for compute than proof of work or like Bitcoin uses so much energy, and even Ethereum proof of work uses a lot of energy, not as much as Bitcoin, but still. And this is like orders of magnitudes like lower. I mean, I'm really excited for the merge to happen as well, because then I think that that's going to like really combat this kind of like narrative. But fun. ETH2, yeah. But Juno is using Juno's already proof of stake. So it's already like pretty efficient in terms of that. Now another thing that's really happened recently is like Juno is a DAO. There was no VC funding. There was no pre-sale. It's all like gone to the community, and there's a very large community pool. And what a lot of chains are starting to do now is they want to like be zero carbon chains. And so Osmosis in the Cosmos ecosystem was actually the first. They're partnering with Regen Network to basically buy carbon credits to offset the carbon output of their chain, because there's still like a lot of computers that are running the network. It's like that there's still like energy being used, but I would put it more on the category of like like a Google search result versus maybe a little bit more, but like you'd be surprised at how much energy goes into targeting ads and no one talks about it. But I think the really cool like thing that's starting to emerge now, and another chain I work on called Stargaze, which is an NFT marketplace, we're also going to be partnering with Regen Network to purchase carbon credits to offset the entire carbon footprint of the chain. So, and as we see these sort of like DAO-based chains with like really real like governance built into them, like, and a very large community treasury, like, those possibilities like exist as well. So, TLDR answer, proof of stake from the start, which is much more efficient, and using community treasuries to like offset carbon outputs. That was a great question. Any others, or should we just ramble, or?
Any other questions? Yes.
When token? Soon.
Good question. Another question, Patrick?
Tell us about like a time that a DAO just completely blew up and exploded, and maybe some lessons that we can take away.
Yeah. Tell us about a time when a DAO completely exploded and blew up, and some of the lessons that we could learn from that. Ask Patrick.
I think I got a really good story about that. I don't know if any of you have heard of Prop 16. And it was it just like took over the whole Cosmos ecosystem for like multiple weeks. I think in the end it was healthy, but it illustrated some really interesting things. But so the background was there was an airdrop that like sort of started Juno. There's no like pre-sale or anything, but there was like a big distribution event to like kickstart the chain. And I'd say like 99, like it was like really almost perfect, except for there was like one account that managed to like somehow like have everything set up in exactly the right way to get like a very large amount of tokens, like I think 5% of the network or something like that, which is like very, very large. And so the community was not really happy about it. And they proceeded to then like consolidate all these tokens into one account, so then everyone could see that, this was happening. So the community was like very, very upset about that, and potentially rightfully so. And there was a very controversial proposal that went out that was like, we're just gonna burn all these funds, like, and this kind of gets to like, it's kind of like that meme with like the sweating superhero, and there's like two buttons, and like one of the buttons is like chain immutability, and the other one's like self-sovereign communities that can govern themselves. This was like that kind of moment where they're like, oh, like there's two different values at play. Like, are we asserting the rights of like a community to like sort of govern themselves through votes? And for context, like Cosmos chains have a built-in governance module that's really powerful. And this just exploded. It was like one of the most like intense weeks of my entire life. Like just like the amount of discussion was like insane. The actual voting on this proposal, over 98% of staked tokens voted on this proposal. There were like almost 100,000 unique addresses that voted. I mean, those aren't people, but like it's just like the engagement was just like through the roof. And it was a lot of drama. Like, this proposal is not really worded very well, and then there was just like tons of infighting. And as you can see from like the result, it's like it's pretty divisive. Like a lot of people were like I think this is an example of a DAO almost exploding. And the weird thing is that like I think it was actually a really good thing, because it got a lot of people to think a lot more about governance processes. Like for a while, like with DAOs, anyone could just make a proposal and it immediately goes up for vote. And this has made us even start to think about this with a DAO DAO, is like maybe there needs to be some sort of process before a proposal goes up to vote, where it's like almost like a pre-vote where it can be edited in that time. Like this proposal would have been a lot better if there was like a little bit of feedback on it before it went live for a vote. And so, yeah, this was like, it kind of almost brought everything to a real exploding point. Like there were a lot of people talking about like forking the chain, and there were a lot of people talking about like not wanting to like run validators anymore, and everyone was like at each other's throats. And but eventually worked out. Sometimes like in DAOs, like chaos, like it's a lot of drama for a while. There's a lot of DPS, drama per second, and eventually everyone gets tired and they like just figure it out. And I think that's kind of what happened with Juno. So like I actually worked on like a sort of compromise proposal that like a lot of people, we're still kind of in the middle of this, but you know, I think it's a really great example of a DAO almost exploding because of just like poorly thought out like mechanisms. Like even today, there's like, you know, we're really trying to encourage people to post on Commonwealth before like submitting a governance proposal, but yeah, even today, like you can still just submit a proposal directly on chain. But like, what it has done is it's gotten a whole ecosystem of people like really thinking seriously about governance. After this, another chain called Secret Network in the Cosmos ecosystem, which is a privacy-focused smart contract chain, they actually adopted an on-chain code of conduct via governance. So they like voted in a code of conduct. A lot of people have been talking about on-chain like sort of constitutions. Like, you know, when a DAO passes a text proposal, what does that text proposal mean? It's just words, right? But like, what's binding in it? Like, you know, it's like if the community passes a text proposal that's like devs go do something, like this was partly, you know, another issue with this proposal. It was like a text proposal, so the community was like, go burn these funds, and like devs were like, we don't want to do this. So yeah, like figuring out, you know, kind of what these constitutions, different processes for, you know, how we like submit proposals for DAOs and things like that. What should DAOs be allowed to do? Like, is there a bill of rights for a DAO? Like, that was a big debate. Like, should the community ever be allowed to vote someone's like balance be wiped?
It's not necessarily a bad thing that one entity or person or wallet is collecting or you know, accumulating, right? So is the issue that there was concern about there was some sort of fraud or some sort of unfair advantage or collaboration between a whole bunch of people? I mean,
No, it was.
fault in the structure of the DAO airdrop?
I think it was the fault in the airdrop. It's actually really hard to do a good airdrop without symbols and stuff, which is like a whole nother area of DAO tooling that, you know, needs work. One of the things I like about DAO DAO is because it's not a whole chain. And we're going to do this today with DAO DAO, is you can just grow a community slowly with like people you actually meet in real life, versus like for something like, you know, Juno, where we had to like distribute a large amount of tokens. It's really hard to do. And it mostly went well, but there was one account, and they just happened to be also like Japanese like scammers and like maybe part of the Yakuza, so can't go to Japan anymore. Actually, no, I have no evidence on that, but you know, so forget I said that. They're great people, but they also got way more airdrop than they should have, and they already cashed out $60 million worth, and so I think they did pretty well, and you know. The community wants to not have such a large account because, like, even like the, you know, core founders of Juno, like, you know, we didn't even get a whole percent. You know, like it was very like minimal. Like, you know, that one account is like the biggest by far, and so people are like, they got more than they should have. You know, they did super well for themselves. They cashed out $60 million. Like, you know, so.
Marcus?
I'm really fascinated by I saw no code as being a possible value proposition.
Yes.
But also no code interchain, which I can't quite get my head around. So could you give us like a kind of a user story for something?
I think we're gonna go through a demo soon.
Yeah.
And
Might
I
be
think
time.
yeah, the goal is like DAO DAO is no code DAO tooling, and so like and this is also aspirational too. Like you know, it's like hard to enable like people to do everything right away. Like we have a power user feature, which is like the custom message thing where you put in like a JSON message and then you can do anything. But we're trying to get as many like templates and stuff as possible, and that includes the interchain stuff. So there's this really exciting feature in Cosmos launching, or in IBC world launching soon, called interchain accounts, which allows an account on one chain to control an account on another chain. And so, you know, these like features exist, and we can build UIs on top of them. And I think that that's the, you know, fun, challenging part of dApps. And if you're a great front-end engineer and you want to like do really cool stuff and work for DAOs, come talk to me. Because there's just honestly, or if you're a designer as well, like there's just so much work to do on the front end side of things, and also explaining these concepts to people. Like we're having to like overload all the tooltips and stuff because like you have to explain to people what quorum is. You have to explain to people like how these voting systems are like actually working. And then people have to like also like, if they're like launching a token-based DAO, we support like kind of both multi-sigs and token-based DAOs. And right now that's like CW20 tokens, which is like our version of ERC20, but you know, NFTs coming soon. But yeah, we have to explain all this to people, and it's like there's just so much work to do on the design and front end side. It's kind of like, you know, for me, this is like a 5 or 10 year project, like because I just think that like governance tools are just require that much work, like, and we're starting at the most simplest kind of building blocks, but we need to like get into like things like governing committees, and like groups can elect people, or like doing like election kind of things, or like other types of delegate voting, and new types of proposal systems. I think one of the exciting things about DAOs is like, you know, if you try to change your local government, good luck. If you try to introduce like ranked choice voting at whatever your local municipality is, you're going to be in like, it's going to take years. But here we can just like try that like instantly, and like every single like political scientist and economist should be like interested in these types of tools to explore new ideas.
One last question.
Are there examples of DAOs taking on like public goods or public services in a way that then gets like the, you know, the surrounding government upset with them? Like they're gonna clean the park for free, and the government's like, no, we clean the park. I don't know.
I think that's great. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's do that on DAO DAO.
Yeah, let's do it.
The
If you got
question was
ideas,
about-
if anyone wants to start a DAO like that, let's do it. Let's
All right,
let's do a better job taking care of the homeless. Let's do a better job taking care of the environment. You know, like,
Yeah.
why wait for them to do it?
So, are you ready to build a DAO with DAO DAO? Yes. Okay, great. Well, first, Zeke, can you hand out the stickers? We have these stickers that will be distributed. Jake, you can stay up here if you like.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
I have to stand though. It feels weird.
You can definitely stand. We can move these. It's fine. Okay, so how we're going to do this is, if you want to participate in the DAO, we can take you through that. But maybe I can show you a little bit about what this would actually look like.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Go for it.
So I want to actually go to the front page here. So this is what it looks like. You have your little themes here. Hooray. And
I
then
like dark theme.
You like dark theme?
I think we should do it in dark mode.
Noted. So we'll keep it here. This whole system runs with Kepler Wallet. Kepler Wallet is a really nice little Chrome browser plugin that will have a QR code for you to download.
Yeah, they also have a mobile wallet too.
Yeah, they have a really, really nice mobile wallet. So what you do here is we'll get you all a Kepler wallet, and then you'll connect your wallet in here. And whenever you get a connection, it's typical wallets. Let's approve this connection and grab our DAO here.
We also have some people here with Juno, and they'll like fill up your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my question, which I know, like, I mean, I'm fairly new to this. I know a lot about mining with cryptocurrencies for like the last 4 years, but I'm interested in taking these growing in the industry. But how do you all you people here like I guess understand like what a DAO is, the relationship with blockchain, and how this can help your business, help interact with other people on the chain or whatever. But then how do you go to a guy who's a manufacturer of brick and mortar and explain to him how this DAO would have the potential to revolutionize his business and actually have them believe that and actually move forward with engagement or
So I have a reason, I think is a reasonable answer for this question. Like, using elevator operators. When the elevator first came out, you had to have elevator operators, not because people weren't ready for it, but they didn't really trust the elevator. And then once the elevators went on strike, the elevator operators, people realized they could just touch the buttons. It's not that technology isn't ready for us, it's usually that we're not ready for the technology, and that over time, human beings have a metabolism rate that's like not necessarily generational, but like cultural, and also like over time. Like if you look at, you know, the endless September when all of the people came back to school, like each generation would like go onto the web, and then the endless September was the time where everybody got onto the web. It's not that, like, it's not ready for a big industrial like manufacturer yet. And if you have to like go there and like force a DAO down somebody's throat, you're not doing it the right way. It's show, don't tell, participate, play a game, enjoy, learn together, be like a kid on a playground while you build the tools together. And then eventually they'll be like, oh, and it should come from them. They could say, oh, this part of a DAO might be interesting for our organization, or, oh, I think I can understand how I'd use it this way. Let me build this temp DAO or play with this DAO in my organization, versus I am a Web 2.0 person and you are going to use this DAO tooling and it is going to do this way and here are the rules, right? And that method is much more interesting and much more like ecological, you know, in terms of growing a nice ecology of like DAOs and how we'll work together in the future. It's just totally opposite from how a lot of people approach things right now, and that psychological switch is the impedance to adopting a DAO. But don't worry, over time, that will slowly happen. And I think that's really important. It's a really good question. So thank you for asking it. Jake, do you want to take us through DAO DAO a little bit?
Sure. All right. Well, this is DAO DAO. I guess that might be easier for people to see. So it's a no-code DAO tooling. So we can just create a DAO right now. We can like add an image. What kind of DAO should we make? Pizza DAO?
Pizza DAO.
You just go through, you fill out a form. I'm just going to talk through this. Great thing is like you click on stuff and we try to like describe what it does. So here we can actually create a new token. So I'm going to like pick a symbol for this token, and it's just going to be ZA. I don't know. Is that good?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And then we're just going to call it pizza token, because why not? You can also use an existing token. If there's already a token that exists, you can use that. Eventually, we're going to have like a lot more different options there for configuring your DAO, but sometimes you got to start small. So this is the DAO initial balance, how much a pizza token is going to be in the pizza treasury, and there's obviously got to be like, you know, like 1 trillion or whatever. I don't know, whatever that is. Let's make it let's make a real shit coin, you know.
Yeah.
Real awesome DAO.
Pizza is reasonably easy to make. So, depends.
How do I make this go away? Oh, no.
You just have to.
I don't use
struggle.
Mac. This
You
is
have to struggle with it. I'm sorry.
It's confusing me.
This is the world that we live in here.
So with Pizza DAO, you know, I think we're just gonna give it all to you because.
All right, I'll take it. I can give it to the treasury later.
So we can add like recipients for ZA token. So all these people are gonna get some ZA, and actually let's just make you the ZA whale.
All right, I'll take it.
This is like our voting configuration. And you just choose like all the different like parameters about your DAO. The main ones are like what does it take to pass a proposal? Like in this case, we're gonna have 51%. So we need 51% of all the people that vote on it to vote yes. You can do, sometimes you want higher though. Sometimes you want like, you know, 2/3. You want to only pass non-controversial things. Quorum is how many of the voters of all the eligible voting population, how many people need to vote out, or how many people need to vote in order for something to be eligible. And then like how long a proposal lasts, so 1 week. these, there can also be a proposal deposit. So sometimes to fight spam, and this is actually something that we learned from real DAOs that like launched on DAO DAO. In fact, there's like over 2,000 DAOs that have launched on DAO DAO, and a lot of them are not super great. There's a lot of test DAO out there, which is fine, but it's going to be live on chain forever, and that's good for them. But there's also some pretty like big ones that launched. One was called Marble DAO, and they like wanted to give tokens to people that like voted in the DAO, and like that created a lot of spam proposals. And so then they like reached out to us, and they were like, we need to like stop all the spam proposals. Like everyone's just like doing, you know. I think that's the new one. There's a.
Oh yeah, there was the original Marble DAO. They were like, let's just give Marble token to everybody that did a really simple thing in the Juno ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody who had staked Juno and like a very, very nice wide like snapshot, and then immediately everybody that had it started. This is the new one, but there was like 90 proposals within like an hour or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was just like
horrible.
growing in terms of like.
And then
so many proposals.
Yeah, the people in the Discord were like, emergency.
Yeah,
help,
so
help.
sometimes like that's something you need to think about as your DAO is like who's allowed to make proposals. Like for multi-sigs, this is usually like simple because for a multi-sig, and we can actually make multi-sigs with DAO DAO too. So if we go back home and we like go create multi-sig, we're trying to make this all one flow, but with multi-sigs, it's just weight-based. So you just have members and you give them a voting weight. Usually the voting weight is 1, and then you have a passing amount of weight. So like this is typical like Gnosis safe style. So yeah, you can do those. The really cool things is like DAOs can actually instantiate multi-sigs. Which is really cool. So you can have like this kind of like sub-DAO notion, and we're trying to do a lot of work to like represent that in the UI. The UI is usually always the hardest thing. Like Zeke has done an amazing job with like the smart contracts, and we got these really modular kind of like governance contracts, but then creating UI that like reflects like all the different things these can do is like the biggest challenge. Where's Dog DAO? Should we just start doing some dogs?
Yeah, we pre-made a DAO.
If you install the Kepler wallet and like raise your hand, someone will come around and like a little Juno fairy will like sprinkle some.
Okay, we have one. If anybody wants to install a Kepler wallet, I'm gonna give you a little note here.
Oh, we should probably put up the Discord link too.
Yeah. So first, if you want to participate, download Kepler wallet for Chrome. It's just an extension. It should look like this K here with a gradient. Once you do that, or you can scan the link, you'll go through the typical thing that you're used to with Ethereum and like MetaMask, where you have your seed phrase. Of course, keep that secret. And then once you have that downloaded and installed, you'll click up here and you'll swap from Cosmos Hub down to Juno.
Yeah, Kepler is an interchain wallet, so it's used by a lot of different chains.
Here's all the different chains on this wallet. So I have this wallet called Adventure Dog, and I'm in Juno. And to get your address, you click up here and copy it.
Actually, if the fairy comes around, you can hit the little deposit button, and it'll show a QR code.
Oh yeah, if you download this either for your phone, you can show that deposit for Juno, and you will get Juno airdrop to you immediately. Here it is again. If you wanna, we were gonna play music during this time, but we don't have any music, so
We'll just talk. We'll say jokes.
we'll say jokes.
Okay.
Have any good jokes?
Do you have any good jokes? I don't tell jokes.
Yeah, I don't tell jokes either.
Okay.
Do you have a joke? Oh, you're raising your hand because you installed?
DAOs can talk to each other. DAOs can, like, yeah, you can get really, really crazy. And we're, like, actually just starting to, like, sketch out some of the really crazy things you can do. But one of the things we're really excited about is, like, this whole concept of, I guess we're calling them sub-DAOs. I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people in the DAO ecosystem are talking about this general idea of, like, groups.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a token-based DAO, And then people get voting fatigue. Like say you got a big DAO, like DAO DAO could be
Yeah.
big DAO once we launch the DAO token. But it's hard to like get everybody to like all the token holders if you have tens of thousands of token holders, like to get them to all to turn out to vote. And so what you need to do is sort of have these smaller groups. So someone would make a proposal like, I'm going to start DAO DAO marketing DAO. Like we're going to make a marketing DAO. And that would be a multi-sig, and they would like request to create that multi-sig and get funding from the main DAO.
Yeah.
And then there would explicitly be that relationship on chain between those two DAOs, so you could see that that is a sub DAO of the main DAO. And then you could just do that forever. Like that multi-sig could have like a bunch of like sub DAOs under it, and like it's just.
Yeah, you could have two chain DAOs that talk to other DAOs on other chains. Yeah, I have a real life example of like why you would need a sub DAO. So I ended up joining the board of the college that I went to as like the second youngest board member in the United States history. Something super bizarre, right? So I thought it would be really cool to join this board because I was really young at the time and I wanted to see how they did governance. They usually do it by like, you meet, there's Robert's Rules of Order, you propose something, there's a second, and then the thing passes. And of course, most of the stuff was done like offsite at like private clubs and stuff like that, where you would like talk or have a phone tree. I didn't know that when I joined the board. But most importantly was that board time was really, really special because it wasn't that long of time. Most everything was like subcommittees. So like the finance subcommittee would actually control a part of the endowment of the college. And so they would be able to like vote and make proposals for the larger board so that it wouldn't have the entire board getting into like the nuances of that proposal and those voting needs. And so by having those subcommittees that were like experts in like finance or scholarships or just public goods, or like there was even one for real estate, you could have like some of this happening like on a lower like a lower cognitive headspace, and then you could propose it to the time in which it made a lot more sense to vote on. And that's kind of how that was done. I hadn't really experienced that before, but then like learning about DAOs, it was like, of course, it's like a mix between like a board and like a co-op, and then the skills required become more like diplomacy and like conflict resolution and really clear communication, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I think another crazy thing that's coming out is the new versions of the contracts have these things called hooks in them. So hooks are basically just kind of like React hooks, or like if you're familiar with like the actor model from CS, like basically like something like a vote message happens, and that it immediately like fires off like a vote message to another smart contract. So you can sort of register like a listener, if you will. And that's allows for some like really, really cool, like you can kind of like chain these contracts and governance systems together. So you could have like middleware that does things like approvals or whatever. I think honestly, like we can write the smart contracts really fast, and there's like a ton of cool stuff. It's like, but you have to like make UI to make it like real for people. So we are also launching, we have this whole DAO DAO UI, but we're launching a DAO SDK that will make it really easy for you to like query all the state for all these DAO contracts and to submit all the different transactions you need, like vote, like submit proposal, things like that. So hopefully things will start getting really crazy. If you probably want to follow DAO DAO because there might be some DAO games coming up, because we think the best way to learn is to like do some games, and they're going to get pretty crazy. Like we're going to do incentivized voting. I think that's going to be fun. Like, see what happens.
Yeah, when you see a DAO game, try to play and break it if you can. And if you have new DAO games to propose, at DAO DAO on Twitter. It's a we should show that.
Yeah, it's at DAO0 on Twitter. There's another imposter DAO DAO, which is like by the people the scammers that made BitClout.
Yeah, don't use
They're
that
not
one.
cool.
Yeah, very
We're the
cool.
true DAO DAO. We're not giving up our name.
Okay, so this is Dog DAO. Anybody can join Dog DAO if you have a picture of a dog that's your dog or a dog you know. The procedure of joining Dog DAO is really straightforward. You join DAO DAO in the Discord and go to the DAO DAO channel. And what you're going to do in this channel is you're going to post your Juno address that you just made in Kepler Wallet. So you're going to swap from Cosmos Hub and scroll down to Juno, click and copy that address, post it into the Discord channel DAO DAO, and then post a photo of your dog or a dog you know. One dog equals one vote in the DAO.
Yeah, one dog, one token. That's the motto. One dog, one token.
Oh, yeah. So I guess you'll have to go through and join DAO DAO. Can we turn off the Wick bot?
Yeah, let me just go
we're
adjust our server settings.
We're going to change some things in the Discord so you don't get so you can join for a limited time only. Yeah. What are some exciting new DAOs that have popped up? Jake, do you have some favorite DAOs in DAO DAO? I'll answer a few while some things are changed. There's a DAO called Earth Plus, which is actually a validator DAO. So in proof of stake, validators actually have votes in the ecosystem, like based on tokens. So you could actually make a DAO for your validator. Earth Plus donates 50% of its profits to regenerative agriculture projects through Amber Initiative. And so the idea behind this is that you can give governance tokens to people, and they can help guide where those funds go to and what regenerative projects to take the DAO funds treasuries to. There's also another one called StarryBot, which is a bot for the Cosmos ecosystem. That is a DAO, and people can contribute to the treasury and then set the course of like what features they want in the bot. You could have, let's say, Amber Initiative is a nonprofit that Earth Plus donates to. Amber Initiative could be a DAO. Earth Plus is a DAO. Amber Initiative could have voting control in Earth Plus or vice versa by giving them a part of the token supply from the treasury. So that becomes really interesting because you can have these kind of collaborative things. Do you have any other favorite?
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, if you had trouble joining the Discord, I just turned off Wickbot because it is very aggressive and kicks people out of the server. So if you had trouble, try joining again. But yeah, other cool DAOs. Security DAO is in the house. I don't know, you want to come up and do like a 30-second pitch for a security DAO? I think security DAO is really cool. What? RLY. What's RLY? I mean, that sounds fun. Yeah. They're a great sponsor. Yeah. Shout out to RLY. Oh, yeah, there's Croncat DAO. So a lot of people that are building things in the ecosystem started a DAO for the thing they're building. So StarryBot is a DAO like that. Croncat DAO is like a DAO like that. It's like a kind of scheduler kind of thing. Security DAO.
Awesome. Yeah, 30-second pitch. The DAOs you create or join use a smart contract under the hood called CW20 and a few other sort of smart contract tokens. And we focus on securing the consensus and the value that you lock in these assets. So if you have questions about how to make your DAO secure, find us later. And we are proudly hosted on DAO DAO and use Juno as our consensus mechanism.
Oh, that's good.
Sick. Yeah, so security DAO is good. There's like a bunch of like kind of like DAOs like Marble DAO. I don't know what these DAOs do. They just start DAOs and then they like get people, like they airdrop it to people and people get really excited about them. I don't know. Raw DAO, so there's the decentralized exchange on Juno called JunoSwap, because of course it has to have swap in the name. I don't know. Is that like a rule somewhere? But yeah, JunoSwap has a DAO called Raw DAO, which is the name of its token, and that governs that protocol. There's Name DAO, because there's a name service as well. I got all the different that is cute. I think that one should. I'm gonna vote yes on that. So
You would vote yes on that?
I would vote yes on that. Yeah, totally.
All right, let me make this a proposal and add this We're gonna add these folks to the DAO.
Yeah, do you want to show what making a proposal looks like?
I do, yeah. So the proposal format, I'm just gonna kind of like doggo, persistent link. Keep some notes here. I'm gonna cheat and just use Discord CDN here, hopefully.
That's immutable, right? That's never gonna go down.
Well, eventually. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to do is go into DAO, and I'm going to star it and add the dog token to my Kepler wallet so that if I get airdropped a dog token, I will get this in my wallet. If zoom out. Okay. And then I'm going to have a new proposal, and the new proposal is going to be called add new human to dog. No, add new dog.
Yeah, we're all dogs in Dog DAO.
All right, so right now if I preview that, it's going to add this dog. But what about the code? So what I'm going to do is add a component, and the component is going to be
A mince. We're just gonna mince new tokens out of thin air.
so we're going to get one dog per token, so we're going to give one dog to their address. So let's go make sure we have their address. This is their Juno address. Copy that out, paste that there, make sure that's all good. And maybe we can add something like, hooray. So let's preview that and make sure that all looks good. Add new dog to Dog DAO. Hooray. And then this is what's going to execute if it passes. And again, I'll be able to execute it. So right now we have a bunch of members in the Dog DAO. So everybody who's a member of Dog DAO is going to need to vote. If you have any Dog DAO existing tokens, you're going to need to vote on this to welcome this member in. So I'm going to hit publish. It's going to sign with Kepler wallet, execute WASM contract. Here we go. That's the code. I'm going to hit approve. It is 0.01 cents. And we wait. Yeah? Hold on. Oh, there's more stuff. Okay, here's a proposal that came in. Great doggo. So I have some voting power here. Pending votes, threshold, quorum, turnout, 30%.
Oh, this is getting close.
Yeah, I can make the tiebreaker. I think I have 5 dog token. How many dog tokens are there? There's not that many right now. Hit yes, vote, approve. And now what this is going to do is, hooray, has it passed? Now, because I broke it, I broke the quorum. It's passed. And now I should be able to execute this smart contract right from within the DAO. So let's execute.
And when this happens, that member who proposed that dog is going to get a dog token.
Yep, 1 dog token to you. Congratulations, Juno 12K8P8WZ. That's you? Yeah. All right.
Woof, welcome.
If you are currently in the Discord, you can check it out yourself. You can follow this link and check out that proposal and how it passed. Over time, audience members who are members of the Dog DAO are going to start putting these things in, hopefully, so I don't have to do all of them live.
I kind of like Dog the Bounty Hunter. That's controversial, but I'm going to vote yes.
Oh, what are you going to
Scroll down in the Discord. Someone had Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Is that controversial?
That's controversial. Well, you have 3 dog votes. I have 5 dog votes. Ben has 5 dog votes. Then we have a bunch of 1 dog member votes. And there was a pregnant dog, so we donated how many dogs was that? 6 dog tokens to the treasury as like a public good.
I don't know. I think we should just throw Dog the Bounty Hunter up there and see what people think. Like, is this a valid dog or not? Like,
Okay.
let the voters decide.
Okay. Well, here we go. If Muskie Elon can put their
They're not even in this room. They're just on the Discord server.
it's true.
Oh, that's cute. That's really cute.
That's really
oh my
cute.
gosh.
I'm doing bad. I have 2 dogs in now.
Oh well.
Well, we're gonna have to figure
should
out
we
what.
should we do this in the queue or I don't know. That one's
yeah,
really
we should
cute,
do it
though.
in the queue. I think.
That one's really cute though.
So I'm gonna mark the ones that we have proposals for as a.
That would be a great idea for Starrybot. Just like do. Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. So we're gonna add this.
Maybe we
here.
should skip Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's controversial.
All right. Let's do a controversial proposal here.
Okay.
And if anybody in the audience is having trouble, raise your hand, and Zeke or someone else will come around and help you. We have one person up front. Zeke, keep your hand raised. Yeah. Okay. New proposal.
Could you do a batch proposal that then send 1 dog to like 6 different addresses?
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, that's a really cool thing. Is in this add component, you can click it again. You can actually do a bunch of different actions. So you could mint a bunch of tokens and then vote to update the DAO config. Though I don't think we want to change the DAO config. It's perfect. I love that picture.
Yeah.
But you can add many different, like you can string together all these different proposals.
Yeah,
So-
we could give members Juno tokens, for instance, or any token that's in the treasury. So I could say like, Marcus, thanks for making us a website. I'm going to vote to spend 100 Juno from the treasury or 100 UST to your account. And then if everybody in the DAO passes it, you get paid. You could run payroll that way weekly, for instance.
So you mentioned the ERC20S standard. What was it called again?
It's CW20, and it's implemented in Rust, but it's the same interface. So if you're familiar with ERC20 and like the whole transfer, send, allowances. Yes, they're in that standard. So and that's just for interoperability. It's like.
And then for the groups that are there any that have like liquid tokens, and are they trying to do things like, basically automate market maker?
Yeah, so I think that DAOs can have tokens in their treasury, and they can do anything that a normal user can do. They have to do it via voting, though, or they have to give permission to one of their members to like execute something like really quickly. Some people have talked about using DAO DAO tooling for like arbitrage bots and things like that, but ultimately what they usually wind up having to do is like voting is too slow to like take advantage of the price stuff. But what DAOs are starting to do is like Juno Swap, for example, is launching, and there's going to be Juno and Raw, which is the Juno Swap token incentives. And so a lot of DAOs are actually going to be listing their token on Juno Swap, and they can literally LP their own token and then get all the incentives, from LP rewards basically. So that's great because it provides like nice little income for the DAO, and we're going to be making UI templates that allow people to just like put their DAO treasury into DeFi, basically. And we can even do that cross-chain. So there's the popular site called Osmosis, which is a cross-chain DEX, and so you can do sort of the same thing with interchain accounts. And then there's Stargaze, which is another project I work on. That's an NFT marketplace, zero carbon because we're getting the carbon offsets, and part of the IBC ecosystem. And so a DAO on Juno can vote to launch an NFT collection on Stargaze and then get that income for the DAO.
So we are reaching time. If you haven't voted yet and you have some dog tokens, we have pitched hopefully have added a controversial proposal. But we are reaching the end of time, so I hope you enjoyed joining the DAO. We'll process more of these as DAO proposals. When you get in here, just make sure that you click starred to add the dog token, and remember to check it often and vote, or we'll have to implement something like voting that decay, like tokens that decay over time. So
Yeah, we could do that.
yeah,
But thank you for your time.
Yeah,
and,
thank you so much.
Welcome to Dog DAO.
yeah.